Daniel stood frozen, every muscle rigid, his breath shallow. The lobby was empty now, stripped of life, stripped of logic. The desk, the sofa, the lamp still there, but coated in dust, as though no one had touched them in decades. The air reeked of mildew and something sharper, like rusting iron. And then his eyes fell back on the mirror. It was taller now, wider, almost reaching the ceiling. The frame was cracked, wood rotting, as if pulled straight from the earth. Its surface rippled faintly, like black water waiting for something to fall in. His reflection stared at him again, but this time it wasn't smiling. It looked angry. The face in the glass scowled, eyes burning with something Daniel couldn't name. Hey, hunger? Maybe both. Its lips moved silently. He leaned closer, straining to hear. That's when he realized the whispers hadn't stopped. They hadn't been in the walls, or the doors, or the staircase. They were coming from the mirror, from the reflection's mouth. Thousands of voices, overlapping, spilling into the room. Trapped, 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 trapped. Daniel stumbled back, covering his ears, but the voices drilled into his skull regardless. His knees buckled. He dropped to the dusty floor, coughing, choking, the air suddenly thick with ash. When he looked up again, the reflection wasn't alone. Behind it, inside the mirror, dozens of figures, pale, hollow-eyed, some in suits, some in dresses, all out of place, all frozen mid-motion as though caught in the act of begging, running, dying, their hands pressed against the inside of the glass, scratching, clawing, their mouths opened in silent screams. Daniel's heart lurched. He recognized some of them, faces he had seen in missing person posters on gas station walls, faces he had seen on the news in motel lobbies across countless business trips, and one that made bile rise in his throat was his own. Another Daniel, whited, gaunt, his palms bloody from pounding on the glass. The reflection turned toward this other Daniel and placed a hand on his shoulder. Almost tender. Almost possessive. "No," Daniel whispered, his voice cracking. "No, this isn't real. This isn't real." The mirror rippled violently, and his reflection's lips moved again. This time he heard the words, clear as the toll of a bell. "Your stay has only begun." The glass exploded. Shards flew across the room like daggers, embedding into the walls, the floor, his skin. He shielded his face, crying out as blood streaked down his arms. The wind howled through the empty lobby, and from the shattered frame crawled the figures, those pale, broken souls dragging themselves out of the mirror, their eyes lifeless, their mouths gaping. Daniel scrambled to his feet, backing away. His foot caught on the rug, and he stumbled into the wall. No exit. No door. The lobby sealed tight like a tomb. The first figure reached him, its hand cold as ice, gripping his wrist with inhuman strength. Daniel screamed and yanked away, but another seized his ankle, another clawed at his shoulder. Soon he was surrounded, their touch burning cold, their mouths opening wider, wider until the sound that poured out was not a scream but a deafening, inhuman howl. He shoved, kicked, tore himself free, adrenaline exploding in his veins. His eyes darted wildly for any escape. That's when he saw it. A door behind the reception desk. It hadn't been there before. With a desperate cry, Daniel threw himself over the counter, his body slamming painfully into the wood. But momentum carried him through. He tumbled onto the other side, crawled across the floor, and clawed at the doorknob. It turned. He yanked it open and stumbled through. The howling stopped. Silence again. He was in another hallway. But this one was different. It wasn't rotting, or wet, or infinite. It was pristine. The wallpaper was gold. The carpet deep red. Chandeliers hung overhead, glittering faintly. Doors lined each side, numbered neatly. Polished brass gleaming in the light. Daniel's chest heaved as he staggered forward. For a moment, hope flickered in him. This hallway looked normal. Maybe he had finally found a way out of the... But then he noticed every door bore the same number. His knees nearly gave out. He spun in place, his eyes darting from door to door, all identical, all marked with the same number that had started this horror. Room 6. Room 6. Room 6. Hundreds of them. Stretching endlessly into the distance, he pressed his hands against his temples, shaking his head violently, muttering to himself, "No, no, 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 I can't be here, I can't." A sound interrupted him. A single door creaked open, not far, just a few steps away. Its golden knob turned slowly, its hinges groaning as though reluctant to let whatever waited inside step out. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. His instincts screamed to run, to turn away, to shut his eyes, but his body moved toward it like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The door swung wide, revealing blackness, and from that blackness, a voice called out, "Come, gentle." His own voice. "Welcome back, Daniel." Daniel froze at the threshold of the open door. Hearing his own voice from inside the blackness was worse than the faceless creatures, worse than the mirror, worse than anything he had seen so far. It wasn't just mimicry, it carried the exact weight of his voice. The cracks, the fear. "Welcome back, Daniel." The words echoed softly, rolling into the endless hall lined with identical room 6 doors. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears, his fists clenched, nails digging into his palms so hard he thought he might draw blood. "No," he whispered, his voice trembling. "You're not me." But the voice inside chuckled, a dry rasp. "Of course I'm you. Who else would know all your secrets? Who else would know what you've done?" The blackness in the doorway shimmered faintly. Daniel squinted and saw shapes within it, a faint outline, like a figure waiting just beyond the threshold. Its posture mirrored his own exactly, head tilted in the same nervous twitch, hands curled in the same trembling fists. Daniel staggered back. His heel caught on the carpet, and he almost fell, his reflection no one in the glass. The one that smiled wrong was standing just inside that darkness. The voice grew louder. "You checked in? You signed your name? And now?" The figure leaned forward, its eyes burning faintly, pale like coals buried in ash. "You can never leave." The door slammed shut with a thunderous crack. Daniel jumped. The entire hallway trembled as though the building itself had reacted. Chandeliers swayed, the walls groaned, and then all the other doors creaked open, one after another. Hundreds of them, spilling blackness into the hallway. Whispers filled the air, louder this time, layered, overlapping. "Daniel, Daniel, Daniel, Daniel." He clutched his head, spinning wildly, searching for escape. Every door was open. Every shadow pressed closer. His chest tightened until he thought his ribs might snap. "Stop, he roared, his voice breaking. "Leave me alone." For a moment's silence. Then, all at once, the doors slammed shut, the noise cut off like a severed wire. The chandeliers flickered, then steadied. Daniel stood alone, trembling, his throat raw. The golden hallway stretched on as before, pristine, endless, doors gleaming with their brass 6 south. It looked normal again. Too normal, and then he noticed one door at the very end of the corridor. It was different, slightly ajar, its brass number missing. The frame was cracked, the wallpaper peeling around it, and though every other door looked polished and new, this one looked ancient, rotten. Daniel's gut twisted. His instincts screamed not to go near it, yet his feet began to move, one shaky step at a time, toward the ruined door. With each step, the air grew colder, his breath puffed white before him. A low hum filled the hall, vibrating in his bones, building with every inch closer. By the time he reached the door, his legs felt like lead. His hand rose shaking uncontrollably and pushed it open. Darkness, but not empty darkness. Inside was a room. Not a hotel room. Not a hallway. Something else. Something worse. The floor was dirt, damp and uneven. The walls were stone, slick with slime. Faint lanterns burned on rusted hooks, their flames greenish, casting sick shadows, and in the center, a desk, an old reception desk, scarred and splintered, but unmistakably the same one from the Haven and lobby. Behind it sat the receptionist, her uniform torn and rotting, her skin gray, her smile wider than ever. "Checking out already, Mr. Harris?" she asked sweetly, her voice dripping with venom. Daniel staggered back, his heart slamming against his ribs. I don't want your room. I don't want any of this. Just let me go." The receptionist's smile widened until it split her face almost in half. "Oh, Mr. Harris, don't you understand? There is no leaving. Not until the room is full." Her hand gestured to the walls. Daniel's eyes followed and horror washed over him. Dozens of mirrors hung on the stone walls. Each mirror contained a person. Some screamed silently, pounding against the glass. Some wept. Some just stared. empty and hollow, and one mirror directly in front of him showed Daniel himself, not the Daniel standing here, trembling, alive. No, this Daniel was already inside the mirror, eyes wide with despair, fists slamming against the glass. The one in the room, the real Daniel, felt his throat close. He staggered forward, slamming his fists against the mirror. Nitrogen monoxide. That's not me. That's not me. The reflection inside mirrored him perfectly sane words. Same panic, same fear. The receptionist leaned her head on her hand, watching with lazy amusement. Oh, it is you, Mr. Harris. That's always been you. You've been in the room since the moment you signed your name. Daniel's head spun. His vision blurred. He backed away, clutching his hair, whispering to himself, "No, no, no. I'm real. The lights dimmed." The mirror shuddered. The receptionist's voice dropped to a whisper that crawled into his skull. "Then prove it." Daniel's chest heaved as the receptionist's words slithered into his ears. "Then prove it." The mirrors rattled violently, their surfaces rippling like water disturbed by unseen hands. The faces inside screamed silently, their mouths stretching unnaturally wide, their fists pounding with enough force to crack the glass. The sound wasn't just in the room, it was in his head, vibrating his skull until he thought it might split open. Daniel staggered backward, clutching his ears. "Stop it. Please stop it." His voice cracked, swallowed by the chaos. And then, suddenly, silence. Every mirror froze. Every trapped figure stilled. The air grew unbearably heavy, pressing down on his chest until he could barely breathe. The receptionist leaned forward, her eyes glinting in the sickly green lantern light. "Choose, Mr. Harris," she whispered. Her skeletal fingers tapped on the desk, each tap echoing like a hammer on stone. "One of you stays, one of you leaves." Daniel blinked, disoriented. What do you mean?" Her smile widened. She raised one bony finger and pointed at the mirror that showed Daniel's reflection pounding desperately against the glass. "That one? Or you?" Daniel's stomach dropped, his knees buckled, and he gripped the edge of the nearest mirror for support. His reflection inside was frantic, eyes wild, face pale. It mouthed his words, perfectly synced, a desperate mirror of his fear. The receptionist's voice slithered closer, though her lips barely moved. "Only one Daniel can walk out. The other belongs here." The lantern flames flickered violently, shadows stretching across the stone walls. The air grew colder, so cold that Daniel's breath poured out in trembling clouds. His reflection's fist slammed harder against the glass. Its lips moved, frantic, forming words he could finally hear through the cracking surface. "Help me, please. I'm the real one. Don't let her take me." Daniel shook his head violently, backing away. "No, you're not me. You can't be me. I'm real. I'm the one standing here." The reflection mirrored his words, shrieking them back, voice breaking, face twisted in despair. Both Daniels now screamed the same thing at once, until the chamber reverberated with an awful, endless chant. "I'm real. I'm real. I'm real. I'm real. I'm real. The mirrors around them joined in. Dozens of voices. Hundreds. A chorus of trapped souls screaming the same two words, over and over, the sound crashing into him like a wave. Daniel clamped his hands over his ears, tears streaking his face. Stop it! The room went black. A single spotlight lit the mirror in front of him. The reflection stared back, silent now, its chest heaving as if exhausted, its eyes locked with his. And then it spoke in a calm, steady tone that made Daniel's stomach twist. If you're real, prove it. Smash the glass. End me. Daniel froze. His breath hitched. His trembling hands curled into fists. The receptionist's laugh slithered through the dark. Low, echoing, delighted. Yes, prove it. Kill the false one. Or accept your place in the glass. Daniel's reflection pressed its palms against the surface, eyes wide, pleading silently now. A faint crack split the glass under its hands. The receptionist slid something across her desk. A rusted iron hammer, its head dented, stained with something dark. It scraped across the wood until it stopped at the edge. Inches from Daniel's reach, he stared at it, his vision swimming. Sweat dripped into his eyes. His knees wobbled as his mind screamed in two directions, one voice demanding he grab the hammer, smash the glass, and free himself. The other whispering that doing so would only damn him forever. His reflection's voice cut through the storm. Don't listen to her. Don't. I'm real, she's lying, please. Daniel's hands shook violently as they hovered over the hammer. His fingers brushed the cold, rusted metal. The weight of the choice pressed heavier than the darkness itself. Behind him, the whispers rose again. All the other trapped souls, all chanting one word, in perfect unison. Choose, 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 choose. Daniel's trembling fingers closed around the hammer. The iron was heavier than it looked, cold enough to bite into his skin. For a moment, he simply stood there, the weight dragging at his arm as though it wanted him to swing. The lantern light caught on the rusted head, and for the briefest second, he swore he saw faces in the dense shadows of the others who had held it, screaming, frozen forever in the metal. The receptionist's smile deepened, her teeth too sharp now, too many. Yes, Mr. Harris, decide. Life is nothing without choices. Daniel staggered toward the mirror. His reflection's eyes widened in terror. No! Don't. Please, you. I swear. She's tricking you. The voice cracked, filled with the exact tremor of his own panic. It was like hearing his conscience cry out from inside a coffin. He raised the hammer, his arms trembling, his breath ragged. His reflection mirrored the movement, lifting its own invisible hammer inside the glass. A perfect imitation. But Daniel hesitated. What if he was wrong? What if he was the reflection, and the one inside the mirror was real? The thought dug its claws deep. His vision blurred, dizziness twisting the room around him. The chanting grew louder. Choose, choose, choose. He dropped to his knees, clutching the hammer against his chest, rocking back and forth. I don't know. I can't. The receptionist's voice sliced through the chanting like a blade. You signed your name, Daniel? That's proof enough. You belong here. Smash the glass and seal it. Daniel forced himself upright, sweat pouring down his face. His reflection sobbed inside the mirror, pounding its fists, blood streaking across the cracked surface. Don't do this. You'll regret it. You'll never leave. Daniel let out a raw scream and raised the hammer high. His reflection mirrored him perfectly. For a moment, they stood in synchronization, both Daniels ready to strike, both believing themselves to be the true one. And then Daniel swung. The hammer crashed into the mirror with a shriek of shattering glass. The sound ripped through the chamber, louder than thunder, sharper than metal tearing. Splinters of glass burst outward, slicing his arms, his face. He stumbled back, blinded by shards, choking on dust. When he opened his eyes, the mirror was gone. So was his reflection. Only dust remained on the wall where the glass had been. The chanting had stopped. The whispers gone. Silence. The hammer slipped from Daniel's hand and clattered onto the floor. His chest heaved, his knees buckled, and he collapsed, sobbing, relief and horror colliding inside him. But then he felt it. Slowly, with unbearable dread, he turned his head. It was his reflection, standing right beside him, not inside the mirror, not trapped anymore. Free. Its smile stretched unnaturally wide, and in his own voice it whispered, "Thank you for letting me out." Daniel's breath hitched. He scrambled backward, but the reflection moved in perfect sync, mirroring his every motion in the real world now. Step for step, breath for breath. The same, but was. The receptionist clapped her skeletal hands together once, delighted. Ah, the room is balanced once more. Daniel's reflection turned to her, tilting its head, then back to him. Its eyes were darker than shadow, bottomless pits. "You chose wrong," it said. The walls trembled violently, dust falling from the stone. The mirrors surrounding him shattered one by one, their trapped souls spilling into the chamber as shadowy forms. They surged forward, surrounding Daniel, wailing, clawing, their voices rising in a deafening crescendo. His reflection only watched, smiling. And then it stepped back into the shadows, leaving Daniel to the swarm. He screamed as cold hands seized him from every side, dragging him down, pulling him toward the cracked stone floor. The earth split beneath him, revealing a pit of darkness that reeked of death and rot. No. No. Please. I didn't mean to, I didn't. Didn't mean to, I didn't. Grinning face peering over the desk. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Harris. The pit closed. Silence returned. The chamber was empty again. Only the hammer remained on the floor, rust darker now, slick with something fresh. Darkness. That's all Daniel knew. A choking, endless void pressing against his skin, filling his lungs, clawing at his thoughts. His scream died in his throat as the cold smothered him, as if the darkness itself wanted to consume his soul. Then, like a faint glow blinked in the distance. Daniel stumbled forward, drawn by instinct, his feet crunching on gravel, though no ground was visible beneath him. The glow grew larger, brighter, until shapes began to form. A desk. The reception desk. Again. He blinked hard, shaking his head. No! No, not again. His voice sounded hollow, echoing in the void. The desk lamp was on, casting a weak, yellow circle of light. The receptionist sat there, her smile unchanged, as though nothing had happened, but her eyes, they were black now. Bottomless. Welcome back, Mr. Harris, she said, her voice calm, soothing, wrong. We're so pleased to have you. Daniel staggered to the desk, slamming his fists against it. Why? Why me? I didn't do anything. God didn't choose this place. Her smile stretched wider. Everyone says that, but the room chooses who it wants, and once you've signed your name, there is no leaving. Daniel's hands trembled as he looked down at the ledger on the counter. His name glistened there in black ink, exactly as before. But now, beneath it, more names appeared. Dozens, hundreds, some old, some recent, each one with a single word stamped beside it. Checked out. He scanned the list frantically. All the names were unfamiliar until his eyes landed on the last entry. Daniel Harris. Checked out. 3:07 a.m. No, he whispered. His stomach dropped. Now, the receptionist tilted her head, her neck cracking unnaturally. It's always right. The room never lies. Daniel stumbled back, shaking his head violently. No, I'm still here. I'm real. But then he heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming from the shadows behind him. He turned. His reflection stood there, smiling. Its clothes were cleaner, newer. Its face calm. It looked healthier, stronger, alive. Thank you, the reflection said softly. You set me free. Daniel's chest heaved. No, you're not me. You're not. The reflection ignored him. It walked calmly to the desk, picked up a pen, and signed the ledger again. The receptionist beamed, sliding the book closed with a satisfied snap. "Enjoy the outside world, Mr. Harris," she said sweetly. The reflection turned, met Daniel's eyes one last time, and whispered, "Goodbye." Then it walked into the light, vanishing as though it had never been there. Daniel lunged forward, screaming, "No, I'm the real one." His fists pounded the desk, his voice cracking with desperation. The receptionist leaned close, her whisper colder than death. "You were real once, but the room doesn't need to." Daniel saw. The lamp flickered. The ledger vanished. The desk dissolved into shadow. Daniel spun, but there was no reflection now. No doorway, no light. Only mirrors rising from the darkness, countless mirrors stretching into infinity. He stumbled toward one. His own face stared back. His fists pounded against the glass. His throat tore with screams, but no sound left his mouth. He was inside one more soul. In the endless collection, the whispers rose all around him, voices of the others, trapped inside their own panes of glass. A chorus of despair, forever repeating the same phrase. "Welcome to room 6. The glass sealed, and Daniel Harris was never seen again.